So as promised, coming back from last week's what we call the old school show, where we did an old school review of the GXCC event. Now we're back live on Hollywood. And it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to one of the kids that we've watched grow through the sport, a very cool little kid on an 85, and now becoming a real key player. In fact, starting to really hustle up in the national numbers as well. Peter Karam joins us from the farms out on Klerksdorp. Peter, happy to have you with us, bud. How are you feeling out there?
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me.
Yeah, always good to chat to you. In fact, I feel like I've seen you for the last couple of days. I mean, you were out spinning spanners this weekend for your buddy Franz Koch, and his dad walked away with the win. So I'm sure you want to say well done to him.
Yeah, it was an awesome race, awesome weekend. Yeah, well, Malcolm did well, and I think Franz was on the numbers this weekend.
Dude, we've obviously the whole idea between the live on lockdowns, as they used to be called, and now live on Hollywood, now that we're coming out of all this rubbish, the idea has been to catch up with all the guys and see what they've been up to during this time and all of their history. And before we get into your history, have you been enjoying the shows and learning something about your competition and maybe some of your heroes?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Sitting on the couch at home, not really having much to do, and watching live on lockdown the whole time. So I think it's awesome.
I was so lucky that you and your folks sent me through all of your footage, and this is actually a bit of a first for us as well, because we actually have the first time you rode a motorbike on video camera. and I have to say, I think this was probably before cell phones, hey? So this was actually filmed on a camera, and we've got your first ever ride. Tell me about what's going on here and where this was.
I got that bike for Christmas. I was 4 years old there, and it was wrapped under the Christmas tree. And as I opened it, I took it outside, and I wanted to ride it. So this was actually not on Christmas Day. It was the following week, I think Monday or so. My dad said, "Okay, I can ride it today." And then he let me go off. And then as I got to the tiles there where I slipped, I was too short, so my feet couldn't touch the ground, and the front wheel just washed under me.
So you check, it's like I say, it's making history here on Hollywood, because we've got your first ever ride and your first ever crash. Yeah. I mean, that's plenty of history there. That's plenty of history. But strangely enough, as you rode through your career, some of the guys that come through from the junior ranks, they can be wild, but you've never been a crasher. All the times I've been watching you, you've been pretty good at keeping it upright. Eh? Have you just got like a smooth style, or what's the deal? Or is it just your legs were so short when you started racing, you didn't want to fall over?
Actually, I've crashed a lot, but this was before GXCC's time, and just doing silly stuff, riding without kit, and I've actually broken 7 wrists already, 1 ankle, and then my worst crash was on, I think, GXCC 2 years ago on Fochville. I tore all my shoulder ligaments. So after that, I decided, no, I have to figure a plan out now to be more smooth and look after myself.
Yeah, those. I mean, let's go back and talk about very, very young Peter, because we've got the cool shots here of very, very, very young Peter. I mean, you're the little dude in the middle there with the chubby cheeks. And check who's with you there. I mean, the old school heroes. I mean, Lawrence and Daryl. What a story. Where was that?
I think that was at a Stella Beersfeest or something at a national. And yes, my dad just drove me around to all the races close to us as a child, because I remember sitting on his bike the whole day waiting for him to come home and then taking me a spin.
I suppose the bug bit early, and you seem to be one of those KTM guys that has just been orange through and through. You've never jumped on anything else, have you?
Yeah, no, my heart really beats orange.
I like the shot here as well. I remember that LG team. Were you actually a junior rider there, or was that just the shirt that you rode in?
No, that's actually my dad. I think my dad had support from them, so that's actually one of my dad's shirts.
Okay. You check.
Yeah.
Your dad's a little bit of a dark horse as well. I need to catch up with your dad. He's always high-fiving me in bits, but I didn't know he was a racer as well.
Yeah, he was actually quite good.
Yeah, you check. I must go catch him up over a coffee. Yeah, man. And then 85 days. You know what? I'm looking at these shots, and you sent me a ton. So thanks for that, and thanks to your folks for sending me all those videos and pictures. But
It's a pleasure.
I'm racking my mind to try and remember if you went from 85s to 125s and 250s. I actually want to think that you went from 85s to 250s. I never remember you on a 125.
Yeah, I actually went straight to a 250 from my 85. I was stupid that time. I didn't know much about racing and all that, so I just wanted to race and wanted to win. So I thought the more power the better, and we got me a 250, and yeah, that's it. That's how where my racing actually started, because then I started doing GXCCs, and yeah.
That's the thing. I remember you're always a tiny little dude. For like the first couple of years, I was like, what's going on here? And I think you were just one of the younger kids out there. And like I say, you missed that, was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where all the high schoolers had to go back to 125. So Stormy and Robbie, all those kids got off 250s and had to go back to 125s. And I think you just stuck with the 250s.
Yeah, actually, because it was in the year I turned 16, so my dad said it's no use going back to a 125 now. I know my bike, so let's stick with it. And then yeah, but if I could make the decision all over again from the start, then when I was 13, 14 years old, I would have gone on to a 125.
Yeah. Look, it's set you up nicely for where you are now. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. You'd have learned a lot on the 125 before you made that jump up. Nice to see those shots there of Lo Schmidt. You probably call him Lo, hey?
I did, and then he actually told me, "No, I'm not a whoop." So I hear that a lot.
Yeah, and JP. I mean, we haven't seen JP for a while, but he's one of those cool farm kids like you, and he kind of came through the 250 ranks as well.
Yeah, JP is an awesome friend of mine, but I think he's just a little bit busy with his studies right now. So I think we'll see him back soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I do hope so. And then just tell me about the link between your folks and Roost. You seem to be been on Roost KTM for such a long time, so obviously you've got a good fit there as well.
No, I must say I'm really grateful for Ron and Andrew and all of them at the Roost. They've been supporting me since I think I bought my first bike, or my dad bought my first bike there. So yeah, we've really come a long way, and they've always been loyal to us. So yeah, I really can't complain. He helps me a lot.
Yeah, man. And you brought them a championship. I mean, people do forget that you're the reigning OR3 champion for the GXCCs. I mean, 2019 was a seriously good year for you. It was kind of your arrival. You know, you were doing super well out at the Northwest events, and then GXCCs as well. You were just killing it. So 2019 must have been like really the pinnacle of your career up until this point.
It was actually, but I just feel like I'm happy about it, but it just feels like I'm always second or third, or just one event that I'll win and then I'll be second again. So yeah, I'm working on speed a little bit, but I'm super happy with my consistency at the moment. So yeah, Gavin is a monster right now. He's freaking fast. So yeah, we'll see if we can battle him into the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, actually, let's talk about your competition for a second, because coming into this year, I mean, I speak to Ivan and I speak to a lot of the guys in the pits, and I've been famous for saying that last year, pretty much everyone that had a 125 bought a 250. So you knew you were going to be in a race this year, because all of a sudden your gate has got you, like you say, you've got Devin Smith, Davin Cocker, Brad Cox, Storm Fullion, Robbie. I mean, it is an absolutely terrifying gate.
Yes. No, but competition makes the sport good. So and then we still have Ryan also there that beat me on the last GXCC. So
yeah, Peltzer as well. Yeah, man. No, it's the 250. I think something's happened with the 250s as well. I mean, obviously you were out at the Nationals and the GXCCs the previous week, but the Nationals last week, Dave Cocker and Cox ran 4th and 5th overall on 250s. That just shows how fast those bikes are.
They were really on it, and I think they ran 100% race pace the whole race, because I mean those guys were battling for 4 laps non-stop.
I was laughing at that event actually, because you were fighting with Peltzer for that 3rd place, and
yes,
I was actually walking to the finish line because I was expecting to see the overall leaders coming in, and I was like, no one else is going to make it out onto the next lap, and you drove past me in the pits. So I was like, oh shame, Peter's going to go out and do another lap.
No, actually, the National wasn't. I think the weekend before GXCC helped a lot for that, but the National wasn't tough as the GXCC for me. It felt like I could still do another lap. So yeah, it wasn't that bad. I actually hoped for another lap, because I only found my race pace like the 2nd last lap. So
yeah, man. Well, I hope your competition is listening to this, because that's big. If you had another lap of race pace in the tank, then that's big. That's something to watch out for.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning of this year, because Ivan's got some lovely footage of you. So GXCC round number 1. Can you remember it? I mean, it feels like a year ago now.
Yeah.
But, round number 1, you lined up on the gates. Everyone was there. All the players were there. Brad Cox, everyone. I mean, what were you thinking when you went into this first GXCC? What, 9 months ago, something like that?
Yeah. Well, it was the first one of the year, so I just told myself to get a good start, which rarely ever happens. I always end up coming out almost dead last, so I have to work on my starts. But yeah, I just went out and enjoyed it, and then I heard when I came into the pits, I don't know, 1st, 2nd lap, my dad told me Brad and Devon had problems, so I just kept pushing, and then I think it was the final lap of fueling. I think it was the 2nd or I think I only fueled once, so it was the 2nd lap. When I got into the pits, I saw Devon go out, and then as he passed me, Gijs Fouchier, one of my good friends, he put on my fuel cap, and then as I drove off, the fuel cap fell off. It wasn't on properly, and then as I went out of the pits, my bike started bogging, and then that it was actually because of the petrol like pouring out onto the hot exhaust. So yeah, I had to fetch my fuel cap again, and then we had to push from there. So me and Devon got each other out in the field and had a good battle. I just didn't have it for him.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get around him.
Yeah.
And I think I finished 6 seconds behind him.
No, it's a good start to the season, and if you don't mind, I'll just ask you, how does it feel to actually ride on the track with old Dev Smith? Because we've kind of dubbed him the Devastator, because he has got a ragged, loose style, and I can't imagine what it must be like to kind of ride in the same wheel tracks as the kid.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to pass him, so you have to be clever. But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome racing all of the OR3 guys, because there's a lot of fast guys, and I think it's safe to say for a spectator, a person doesn't know who's going to win the OR3 gate at the moment as you come into a race.
Yeah.
So I think it's tough competition, so it makes for good racing.
Yeah, man. And so out of that, obviously we've done some nice work for you and got all the shots. So let's talk about it while we're online here. Round number 2 was Falkville, and for me, I'm always kind of scared when I know that it's going to be a really fast track, because the 254 strokes can sometimes cook themselves a little bit on the big straights, and this was probably one of the fastest tracks I've ever seen laid out.
Yeah, it was an awesome track for me. I love going flat out, but the thing is that the dust was just a little bit too much for me to put a full race pace on. So I was still a little bit careful, but it was an awesome race, and I loved it. I think if we can have that race when it's rained a little bit, it would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we were out there kind of, we had a strange year, I must say. Everyone said that we've had like 2 seasons of dry racing and dust bowl racing. We're due for a wet one. And it kind of looked like it was going to happen, and then it just never arrived.
Yeah, sadly.
And then obviously, someone pushed the big pause button for the last 6 months. So I know maybe you got to get on your bike. I don't know what you were up to. You know what we were up to. Me and Ivan were busy making a plan here. Well, what were you doing all this time during this crazy lockdown that we slowly look like we're coming out of?
I made a plan to ride for the first 2 months, or a little bit like every weekend, and on weekdays I also went out to the farm and rode a little bit. But it was also quite difficult with all the schoolwork and my maths homework that has to be in before 1 o'clock every day, and then that's only math. So then I still have all the other stuff to do.
Yeah, man. I don't miss school. I promise you, I don't miss school. So sometimes someone said to me, wouldn't you like to go back to school? I'm like, no, I was terrible at school. I was horrible. And I had to go to extra maths. Like that's just like rubbing salt into a wound, man. I couldn't do it. It was like going to another class after school to get told you definitely can't do it.
Yeah. I'm at extra maths the whole time. So weekends I don't even get the time for riding my bicycle, because when I get home weekends, all I want to do is ride my bike. So that's also a negative.
Oh, shame, dude. Yeah. Well, I feel you, brother. It sounds like we went through the same rubbish. And then what did you think of? I mean, it's only 3 weeks ago that we actually dusted our boots off and went GXCC racing, and it was a good one, dude. I mean, that dice that you and Peltzer had was a ripper. It was one of the coolest races I've seen.
Yeah, it was awesome. Again, I only found my race pace like the third last lap, so I don't know what's wrong, but we have to sort it out. And but when I started racing, yes, it was awesome. Me and Devon and Ryan were at it. They in the front. So bad luck for Devon. He had suspension problems, but yeah, it was awesome. And then on the second last lap, I had a crash, so my camel pack burst, and then I didn't have water for 100k. So that was not lekker, but yeah, we'll take it.
I spoke to a few dudes after that race, and one guy, I think it was Ruan Smith, he said to me his hydro pack actually got ripped off his arm by one of those trees. I mean, that's how tough that track was.
Yeah, no, it was really the first lap in the first 21 k's in that sand. Yes, yeah, I felt my arm pump starting, so I have to make a plan if I want to race 5 laps on this track.
I obviously spoke to Peltzer after the race, and well, the story of that race was you were the only 250s to make it out onto that final lap. But tell me about when you went out onto that last lap with Peltzer, because we were laughing because you were literally motocross elbows up going out onto that loop.
Yeah, it was awesome for the first 10 k's, and then he went wide in one corner and I went in the inside, but he was a little bit ahead of me, and I thought maybe I can come out next to him, and then I think I just braked a little bit too hard, and then my front end washed and I fell, and I had to catch him up from there, and then I started dehydrating. So yeah, I wouldn't say I gave up, but I just backed off my pace a little bit to finish.
The term is rolled. The Supercross guys would say I rolled out of it. Well, obviously there was no other 250 that was behind you, so you knew you had second place wrapped up. It was just bringing it to the line. But yeah, I mean, how are you actually feeling? Because you went straight from there to the national. Obviously, we don't have footage of the national, but I was there watching you race, and didn't look like anyone had lost any speed coming from the GXCCs. In fact, it looked like the GXCCs had done you all kind of like the world of good, and you were all looking nice and loose again.
Yeah, I think the GXCC the weekend before was awesome for the national, because I didn't even get one cramp or never got arm pump or anything bad. So it was awesome.
Yeah, man. Oh, look, Peter, I mean, I know you're busy with your studies and everything, but we've got, what is it, 2 more GXCCs after this, couple of nationals, but I think the national next time is a double header, isn't it? So are you going to make it down for that, or are you just going to focus the GXCCs for now?
Yes, no, for sure. We're going down to the national. It's going to be a strange terrain for us. So yeah, I've never ridden in Natal. So we'll take it as a learning curve and see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to warn you. There'll be a couple of kids down there you've never seen before, and they might beat you, because Natal's got this funny thing. You know, it's got this funny thing. They're really good at riding their own terrain. You know.
I know it is. So I just wish they wanna give us a national here at Stella too.
I remember there used to be one, so you know, I know a few people. Yeah. I'll have a word.
Okay.
Listen, Peter, we don't want to keep you too much. We know you're hard at work on your studies, and it is a school night. So I want to say thanks for joining us here. It's actually really been fun to chat with you, and I'm enjoying watching you grow as a racer. I'm going to ask you one straight question though before I do the sign off. You've been on 250s for so long. Is the move to OR2s and a 350 on the cards, or what?
I don't think quite yet, Matt. I think I just wanna be on my 250 still for a year or two, and then we'll take it from there. You know, I don't want to touch wood, but I don't want to jump up to a 350 now and have silly moments. And so I think I'm feeling quite comfortable on my 250, and I'm still young, so yeah, I think I still have a good 2 years in me for a 250.
And Derek hasn't started borrowing your bike yet, no?
Actually, he does. He rides my practice bike now and then yes, I have to be careful for him, because if I don't check, he's in the inside of me. So he's really freaking fast, and I just want to tell all the high school guys they have to watch out for him, because he's flying at the moment. And somewhere along the road in this year, it's gonna all click together for him. And yeah,
I can see that he's definitely coming on. I mean, he came back from that injury last year, and you know, he's straight on the podium. So it's very rare that you see that. So it's going to be fun. I'm always excited when I see brothers coming through the ranks, and you'll probably end up racing maybe one season together on the 250s, actually, before you go up to the 350s and leave him to do his thing.
Yeah, my dad said when we're in the same class, he's not coming to the races anymore. So
it's too bad for the heart. Too bad for the heart.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Peter, it's been great to catch you up, and like I do with all my guests, I want to say thanks for joining us. But this is your platform now to say thanks and a how's it to anyone who's helped you out along the way.
Okay, no, thank you, Matt. I just want to give a big thanks out to Roost. You know, none of this would have been possible without them. And of course, my new suspension, my Olin suspension, is working 100%. So I just want to give a big thanks to Justin from CycleWorks. He does everything he can for our suspension to be 100%. And then also to Henderson Racing Products, big thanks to them for always helping us with the Dunlop tires and all the gear and kit. And then also a big thanks to Enarive. You know, if it wasn't for them, I don't know where my concentration would be.
I've seen you've been using that product. Actually, a couple of guys have been using it, so I'm going to be looking into that thing pretty soon.
Yeah, it's actually, I have it here. I drink it like twice a day when I'm writing, and so yeah, it really helps for focusing and giving you energy.
Good lad. All right, man. We're going to sign off with that then. So thanks, Peter. You study hard, and I'll see you on the gates in a couple of weeks' time, eh?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.
All the best, brother. Hey, what a good kid, eh? And we've got another one as well, Karam ×2. We've got little Derek coming up through the ranks. So we'll be catching up with him probably at some point in the early part of next year. So for now, I'm going to sign off. It's cool to be back doing a live on Hollywood. Next week, we haven't quite decided what we're going to do. We're going to maybe mix it up. There's a review coming for the National Off-Road that I worked the week before. And there looks like there's going to be an EWXC, which we are flirting with, going and taking a look at, me and the LiveX crew. So hang 10, watch for the press. No matter what, there's going to be Hollywood Hills every single Monday. So we'll sign off with that and say thanks so much once again to Peter Karam for joining us and giving us the little lowdown on his history, where he's been, where he's going, and what to watch out for on the gates. For now, big thanks to all our sponsors and our supporters and all you beautiful people who've been hanging with us here at Hollywood Hills. We'll see you guys all next week for the long weekend and Heritage Day. Have a great time out there and be safe.